All right, check it out. We're looking at the 7D today. This video should have done a long time ago, but somehow it slipped through the cracks and it never got done, so I'm going to take care of that today. Now, the 7D is a really cool camera. If you've never heard of it or never seen it, it's actually one of the coolest Canon cameras that's been out in a while. A lot of refreshes. This is basically the update to the 50D. So now the 50D has been replaced by the 7D. I bought this camera in November when it first came out, actually before November, and I've had a lot of good times with it. Let me tell you, it's taken some incredible images. I've probably taken over 20,000 images with it already, and it's a really, really awesome camera. Now, today we're going to look at the kit. This is actually the 28 to 135 millimeter f3.5 to f5.6 kit. So it comes with the lens and the body, and then of course you get a bunch of other stuff like a little charger and the carrying strap and a bunch of manuals and cables. You get this composite output, which actually plugs into the USB on the side. You also get this USB cable to take stuff off of it or to tether it to a laptop. And then you get the very nice Canon 7D manual and some other warranty information. But we're not here to talk about any of this stuff today. We're here to talk about the body and the lens that comes with it. Now, we're going to kind of put this over to the side for now. We're going to talk a little bit about the body. First of all, let's talk a little about the sensor and the autofocus and the metering on here. This is a 18 megapixel APS-C size sensor, so it does have a 1.6x crop factor, shoots 8 frames per second at continuous high speed. So if you don't know what that is, I'm going to go ahead and show you. Producer Dan, you want to zoom into the shutter here? I'm going to show them how fast this thing can shoot when you go in continuous high. Very, very fast. It has a very fast autofocus system. So on top of shooting 8 frames per second, it'll actually track and keep up with your subject because not only does it have a single shot autofocus, but it also has AI Servo, and actually it has an additional type of autofocus, which you're probably not going to use as often, but it has an additional one, which is actually called Predictive AI Servo. Now, the coolest feature on the camera is definitely got to be the HD video function. Now, before on the Canon 5D Mark II, you did not have this dedicated video button. So if you want to go into video on this camera, you basically switch it over to video. There's no lens right now, but that's basically going to send you into video mode, which is really cool. Again, it does 1920 by 1080p. Full resolution HD video. We're talking about cinema quality here. Very, very nice. It does 24p, 25p, 30p, and then also what's really cool is that when you're in 720p, you can actually shoot 50 or 60 frames per second. That's going to give you a nice slow-mo effect when you overcrank it or in post when you slow it down. So that's another really cool feature for the video. Also, ISO on this camera, as you can see, goes all the way to 6400. So you can shoot a really high ISO on this camera. It actually is pretty clean all the way up to about 1600, 24 ISO is about the maximum, but it is expandable to 12,800 if you so desire. You see right there, it's blacked out right now, but you can set the ISO expansion to 12,800. Of course, the images will have quite a bit of noise, but still really nice to be able to shoot that in the dark. Also, the body on this camera is absolutely incredible. It is a magnesium chassis. It is completely weatherproofed. It's actually even more weatherproofed than the Canon 5D Mark II, and it'll actually pretty much border on the weatherproofness of the 1D, which is a much more expensive camera. Very durable. That's one of the things you pay for when you have the more professional-oriented cameras like this. Like, even though the T2i can shoot video kind of similar to the 7D, this camera is extremely more reliable. It has 150,000 shots that it can take on the shutter before it needs to be serviced, which is absolutely a ton. And then, of course, everything is weather sealed. So basically, whether you're looking at the battery down here at the bottom, it's all going to be weatherproofed in there. Water's not going to leak. If it starts raining, you're okay. All the little ports, like here where your CF cards, they're all weather sealed all along the edges. All the buttons are weather resistant and weatherproof, so very nice as far as build quality goes. Also, let's talk a little bit about the screen. This is probably one of the most gorgeous screens that you'll see. This is a 920,000 dot 3-inch LCD. You can see it from almost any angle. See over there, we're at a pretty wide angle here, over 170 degrees, and you can still see it. So very, very nice as far as that goes. Extremely impressive. The other thing that's really cool about the 7D is let's talk a little about some of the autofocusing autofocusing technologies that are built in here. First of all, it's a 19-point autofocus, but every single autofocus point is a cross type, which is not something you usually see. They're all cross type. There's actually a dual diagonal cross type in the center, which works at f2.8 and f5.6. Now there's 5 different modes of autofocus on this camera. If you look right over here, this is the button that's going to actually let you get into the selector. It's right here, and you're going to see when I go on my screen, it's going to pop up this. So your first one right here is your single or spot. Then you have this one right here is AF point expansion. The next one over is going to be the zone AF, and then finally the last one is the multi, which basically does everything for you automatically. Very cool, so that way you can track. Now if you want to change how fast you're shooting or how fast you're focusing, you can go to AI Servo, AI Focus, or One Shot. So One Shot for regular portrait, or AI Servo if you're tracking something that's moving fast, like a race car or a football player, etc., etc. You can also change the drive. So here you go. If you want to take a single shot, it'll take a single shot. If you want to take high speed, it's going to go really fast. If you want to do just regular low speed continuous, it'll do that. And then there's a 10-second timer and a 2-second timer. So a lot of different drive modes. Again, here's the ISO, all the way up to 6400. Flash exposure compensation is down here at the bottom. You can do plus or minus 3 stops in either half stop increments or third stop increments. It's up to you. White balance. This is what white balance looks like. Basically, you can choose your color temperature, or you can do a custom white balance, or you can just pick a color temperature from a list of numbers. You also have the metering up here. Again, like I mentioned earlier, there's evaluative, center weighted, spot metering, and then partial metering. The spot metering is about 9%, and the spot metering is 2%, and the partial metering is 9%, and it's going to concentrate on the center, so it's going to, meter off of the center of the image, off that center point. Now, if you want, you can actually be using any one of these, actually, and let's say you want to do spot metering, you can actually make the camera do exposure, white balance, etc., all off that one spot. You can basically link it to an AF point. You can link your dual layer metering to that point and use that. So very cool. Now, a little bit about the metering here. Very nice. It's a 63 zone dual layer metering system. It's very, very accurate. There's a lot of dynamic range in this camera, and some of that's due to the incredible metering system they have on here. That's been passed down from the Canon 5D Mark II and is also passed down to the T2i from the 7D. Very, very nice as far as all that goes. You also have a 100% viewfinder up here in the top, so what you see is what you get. You're basically going to be looking at what you're going to get on live view. Some cameras give you about 95%, so they're cutting off about 5% of what you see here. So you actually have to back up a little bit to get the correct image in the viewfinder, but very, very nice. Now let's talk a little bit about the lens that comes with it. This is the 28 to 135 zoom lens that comes with this kit lens. It was a new lens that was released with the 7D. Again, it's a ultrasonic motor for focusing. It is IS, so it does have a stabilizer right there. That's basically going to let some of the elements in the lens move to give you a very stable image. It's going to help you get about a stop more light through your camera and make you, help you get a clearer, sharper picture. Manual and autofocus is obviously right there. It's f3.5 when it's all the way down at 28 and goes all the way up to f5.6 when you're fully zoomed in. So this may not be a professional lens, but it is a very versatile lens. And even if you're buying the camera and you have a bunch of glass already, this is a great lens because it's good for scouting. It's light, it's affordable. If you drop it and break it, you're not going to feel too bad. It's not super pro quality, but is a very nice lens to start with, and it takes great pictures for being, a very simple, affordable lens. Now, another really cool thing about the 7D is the flash. The flash looks pretty average, just your regular pop-up flash, but the really impressive part I'll show you is actually back here. Now, let me see if I can do this upside down and backwards on the monitor. That's what I'm doing right now, but here we go. Here's a really cool feature. You have flash control. So basically, if you have an EOS, EOS, a 550 EX, a 580 EX, a 580 EX2, a 430 EX, all those flashes can be controlled through the camera. So if you want to go to external flash function settings, right now there's no flashes, so it's not going to work. But basically, you could control all those flashes. It'll let you change the flash mode from ETTL to manual, or do rear curtain sync. It'll let you do exposure compensation, all this good stuff. Plus, it'll of course fire all those flashes, and you can do, I believe it's up to 7 flashes. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's a good number, more than most people would use in a regular shoot. So that's a feature that's specific and new and pretty much exclusive except for the 1D Mark IV to the 7D. The 5D doesn't have it. The T2i doesn't have it. None of the other cameras have it except for the 7D. So that's a really, really cool feature that you can do if you're into flash photography, you want to do off-camera flash. Very neat. Now let me take you for a quick tour of the body, and that'll be pretty much it. So I'm going to show you, start off from the top first of all. Hot shoe, diopter adjustment. This is the button that gets you into live mode. So if you want to click it there, see, now I'm on the screen, live view mode. If you want to shoot video, you're going to do the same thing, except you're going to click it over. It's already going to turn into live view mode. Now you're ready to shoot video. If you want to actually shoot the video, just push the button, and you're going to see there's no card, so I can't record, but basically I would hit start, and I would record. Now also up here at the top you have your main dial. This is going to let you go from fully automatic, creative automatic, program, shutter speed priority, aperture priority, manual, bulb, and then 3 custom settings, which in turn I actually use them for video. When I want to set up my video, it sets the frame rate exactly. It sets 24 frames per second. It sets my shutter speed at 1/45 of a second. It dials down my aperture to the minimum value, or just right above it like f2, and then I have that set up to go for 1080p, and then for 720p slow motion I have that on C2, and then C3 is another setting. You can all set these up to whatever you want, so it's really cool. You can customize it. Also, they moved the power switch from being over on the right-hand side. Now it's on the left-hand side, so very convenient. Now moving on over here to this side. Here's your display. Shows you just about everything you could possibly want. If you want to adjust anything, it's up here. So white balance, you're going to be using this over here to change your f-stop, and this wheel down here to control everything else. Now, if you want to actually see what's going on without actually looking at the little display, what you're going to do is you're going to put it in video mode, and you're going to hit info. Info brings you to this screen. If you hit again, turns it off. If you bring it here, it gives you your color space, your settings, your white balance, etc. And if you hit it again, it's going to give you a level, which is another exclusive feature to the 7D. It has a level, so when you're doing landscapes, you can perfectly line everything up, and it's not only horizontal, but it's also vertical. See, so I can go this way and this way, and it's going to give me a perfect level, accurate to 1 degree, which is really, really nice. But back to what we were doing, over here in the front screen, as you change through the different settings, you're going to see everything change with it. All the information that you need is right here, and if you don't know how to go through your settings quickly, you can always use the Q button. The Q button actually brings you into a quick menu where basically you can pick what you want to do. If you want to change the white balance, you just click on it, and basically you can change the white balance to whatever you want, metering, picture styles, etc., all through that. So very interesting, very cool, very fast. Definitely a camera where you'll get the hang of it very quickly now. So basically if you hit drive, you can change between one shot, AI focus, and AI servo, and then the other wheel down here at the bottom will change between continuous, continuous high, single shot, and then your 2-second timer and your 10-second timer, etc. Next one down on the dial is your ISO and also your flash exposure compensation. Down here, the wheel's going to do the exposure compensation, and up here, it's going to do your ISO if you want to crank it up. And again, if you don't want to look at it on the screen here, you can always go to this screen, and it's showing you a much more detailed representation on this screen. So if I hit AF mode or drive mode, it's going to show me that. If I hit metering mode, it's going to show me that. If I hit ISO or flash exposure comp, it's going to show me that. And then, of course, there's also I don't know if you can see it here. Let me see if I can shade this off. You can't see it, but there's a light, and I'm lighting it up right now, but we're in a very well-lit studio. Now, a couple other buttons. Here's your manual function button. I assign this to change through my different types of autofocus. Your wheel right here, and then the shutter release is right there, and that'll pretty much take care of the top of the camera. Now onto the back. The Q button, like I mentioned, lets you go between all the different settings on the screen. Really simple to use. The JPEG RAW button, really cool button. If you're not shooting RAW plus JPEG or just RAWs and you want to take a RAW at that moment, you push that and automatically you see it's taking a large JPEG and a RAW image. So if you're kind of on vacation shooting JPEGs, not really that important, but you see a picture that's really cool, you can hit RAW. It's going to give you the raw image plus the JPEG. Of course, you can always go into your menus and just manually change it. You have all the settings in here that you can change. But basically, if you didn't want to go through all of this, down here to pick, what you want, you could have basically just hit the raw JPEG button. Also, menu control button is obviously right here. Picture styles button is right here. Again, just like pretty much all the other cameras, you have standard, portrait, landscape, neutral, faithful, monochrome, and then you have 3 user-defined settings. One of which I assigned to my ultra flat setting for video. Playback button is right here. There's no card, so there's no images. Info button, like I said earlier, is going to go through here. Then it's going to take you to your level. Press it again, it's going to give you the full display on the back. Press it once more, it turns everything off. delete button, scroll wheel over here, selector button. If you want to turn it off and lock it, now it doesn't work, but you should leave it on because you're going to use it a lot. This is a joystick and a button, so it's a selector. This is how you turn on video mode. Push it there, hit the button, you'll start recording. Go back to here, now it's in camera mode. You want to go to live view, you push start stop. Really simple. This will send you through all your zooms. So if you want to focus, if you need help focusing, I can go ahead and, I'm too close to focus here, but there we go. See, it'll help me focus, and then I can zoom in again and zoom back out. That's a focus assist. Also, if you're in live view mode, that button is going to bring up the AF point selection, which basically in turn you can choose whichever type of focusing system you want to use, or you can change the select points or the expansion areas depending on what type of focus you're doing. Right hand side of the camera, you're going to see basically the CF card port, again fully weather sealed. It's where your CF card's going to go. It will do the UDMA cards, no problem. On the left side, there's a couple things going on here. I'm going to pull up these two weather seals. This is for a remote shutter release or for a intervalometer. This is the PC sync cord. You have a audio in. This is for a microphone. Basically, if you want to do a stereo mic instead of the automatic mic that's on here, it's got automatic gain control, so it's not super awesome for high-end video, but it works really good for just recording regular video. This is the USB that's going to go out. This also turns into composite in case you want to send it to a TV to capture, and then a mini HDMI, which will send out a high-def signal out to a big monitor TV, either to share your pictures or so that you can pull focus when you're doing video or look at images as you take them. Also, on the left-hand side, down here at the bottom, depth of field preview button, just like on most cameras. The release for the lens, so if you want to take the lens off, that is where you're going to do it. And that's basically it. Also, the flash release button is right there, so if you push that button, it'll pop up your flash. Finally, the bottom, you're going to see that you have a basic 1/4 inch by 20 threaded screw in line with the lens for putting a tripod. You have the battery over here. I'm not 100% sure of the name of the battery. I believe it's the LP-E6 battery, so if you want to get replacements, yep, it's the LP-E6 battery. It's a new battery. It's the same one that goes on the 5D Mark II and the 7D. It's really awesome. This battery is really powerful. It's a 1800 milliampere hour battery, and it will go and go and go for a really long time. And if you want to get the battery grip for this, I mean, it will take pictures forever. And that's basically it. Pretty awesome camera, I gotta say myself. I've loved it since I got it. I made the switch from Nikon to Canon not too long ago, and this is the first Canon I had that was actually mine that I could use before I was borrowing a camera. This is an awesome, awesome camera. If you are in the market for something that's basically a professional camera, but also shoots HD video and is kind of in between, it's not too expensive. You know, the 5D Mark II is over $1,000 more than this camera. Basically, the only thing you're getting with the 5D Mark II is that you have the full frame sensor. This shoots faster. It has a better autofocus system. It's better on battery life. I mean, the body is even more weatherproofed. It's really sturdy. If you want a slightly bigger camera, if you want to use big gloves or whatnot, you can get the battery pack, and then the batteries last for like a week with 2 batteries in there. The kit lens that it comes with is pretty good, especially if you don't have a lens right off the bat. You're just getting into photography. It's a good lens to start using, and then later on you can start building your collection of nice, more expensive lenses, but very versatile. Obviously, it goes from 28 all the way to 135, so it's a very good zoom, and that's basically it. Very nice camera. The Canon 7D with the 28 to 135 IS-USM kit lens. If you have any questions on it, I guess you can email me, and I'll see you guys next time. For more information on the Canon 7D kit with 28 to 135mm lens, type in C930-1686 into any major search engine.